All right.
All
Good
right, all
people,
right, all right.
we on tonight.
You're gonna learn
Um,
today.
you're gonna learn today. Absolutely. So
It's
yes,
gonna
we
be
are.
interesting.
We're gonna be,
Mm,
be live tonight, y'all. We got some things we're gonna carry over from last week. But before we get started, um, first and foremost, we always give honor to God. Without God, we don't have anything. Without God, our existence isn't there. Without my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I don't have the grace and the blessings and the favor that's on my life, my wife's life, Chris's life, and everybody else that's watching, everybody else that's part of the crew. So I just thank God for everybody on here, everybody watching, the crew, and I just pray that your lives are fully enriched and you'll have exceedingly abundantly above everything you can ask or think. So I'm putting that decree out there,
amen. I
and I'm
said,
putting it out there. I'm putting it out there.
That
yeah,
that was deep, bro.
Yeah,
that was
there's a
powerful.
word out there. I throw a little something out there
Yeah, he
for the
said,
That was
say,
deep.
peoples.
that's right. You're speaking
So,
it into existence.
right, you got to speak it in existence. So last week not last week. I mean last this past Tuesday, we were talking about outgrowing relationships, and in talking about outgrowing relationships, we kind of we just kind of spread our wings a little bit outside the boundary box, and we
Hmm.
started talking about when you start outgrowing relationships in regards to um, not just friendships and people. We're talking about relationships and so forth and so on. And then we just kind of tallied over into talking about, education, the system we work in, and things of that nature. So that kind of opened up some stuff to where, um, we actually going to talk about it a little bit tonight. And so, for those who are joining in for recording purposes, of course, tonight's topic, and we're going to dive into this thing. Tonight's topic is, at what cost do you give your kids the best education? I'll say it again. At what cost do you give your kids the best education? It's summertime right now, so a lot of you guys are, you have family or friends or people that you may know that are moving, right? They're buying homes, they're moving this summer. Why? They want to get their kids to the best school districts, right? That's a lot of times when people buy homes, a lot of times where people move. It's not just because of their job. It's the primary, a lot of times, is because of the school district and the schools they want the kids to go to. So there has been a big misconception about that whole thing. When people are talking about the best schools and the best districts, and I mean it's so bad in some of these districts where you know there are parents who would fight to get their kids in some of these schools. Where people will lie to get in some of these schools. They using their cousin address because that cousin is zoned to the district and they zoned to this school, and this baby got to go to this school of all schools. And the problem that I think that we kind of overlook, and we're gonna kind of dabble in this, but I think one of the main things we overlook when we're talking about at what cost, at what cost uh, do you give your kids the best education? We're not talking about the money element of it. We're not talking about just the educational part of it. Look, the best schools are the best schools for a reason. Okay, the best schools in the district are the best schools in the district for a reason. So we're not
Yep.
going to knock that, right?
Hmm.
But I think what we're going to talk about tonight, in addition to some of those things, some of those perks and benefits, is some of the things that I believe a lot of parents who have good intentions, they may have, um, they may actually have good, how what I say, they have good values. They were raised in a good home. Um, so their biggest thing is, I want to pass it on from generation to generation, right? Which is what we've been, that's what you want to do. So you teach your kids how to go to school and you get them to the best colleges and all that good stuff, right? So here's a situation that I really believe, um, a lot of people kind of miss in the process. And then we'll all just kind of jump in and talk about it.
Mm.
And y'all can tell me, what you feel, what you think, if I'm on track, have I lost you? Do you agree, disagree,
Okay.
or so on. So,
Well, we know about the red lines,
right. So,
the districts, right?
So there's a lot of, they draw these districts. And the first thing you got to understand when you are sending your kids to these school systems is understanding that these district lines are drawn a certain way for a reason. And the way they're drawn, if you didn't know, if you're watching this video, so you understand that if you're in one neighborhood and your kid goes to this school, literally across the street,
Right.
literally across the street, that neighborhood goes to a completely different school than your child's school. Why is that? Because of how those lines are drawn. And a lot of these, how they're doing education right now, you got to be very careful because they're segregating these neighborhoods. You get what I'm saying? They're segregating these neighborhoods so that certain wealth or certain distribution of money in the household is only allowed to live in these particular homes. So what they've done, they got real smart now with this, because it would be, when we're talking about this neighborhood goes to this school, this neighborhood goes to the other school, and they're right across the street. A lot of people got hip to that. All they do is just walk their kids across the street, right? Walk their kids across the street, and they go and they jump in and go to that school. So what they did now was they put a lot of schools in neighborhoods now. That's how they build these schools now. They putting the schools inside these neighborhoods or close to certain neighborhoods, to where these homes cost anywhere from $300,000, $400,000 and up. So you just can't, walk across the street for your kids to go to that school. So here's the question: why is it not okay for the school that you have right here versus the school that is the best in the district? Right? Why is the schools in this district so much better? Because they got the resources, right? They got the money.
Right.
But I think this is the part right here, and you guys can chime in and let me know. This is the part that I think a lot of parents, what I want to talk about tonight really, is the mental aspect of what your kids are going through at these schools. When I don't think a lot of parents understand. I mean, a lot of parents have good intentions when they want their kids to go to the best schools, have the best. I mean, my parents talked about it. I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably tell that to your kids, and somebody told you that, right? Your parents told you that. They want the best for you. They want better for you and all this other stuff. So you go to these schools and people don't understand the academics might be great, but a lot of times the reason why your kids are not doing as well as you think they can, and your child is smart, is not the coursework. It's not even the workload. It's all those other things that they're dealing with, like you would deal with at a job. See, sometimes you go to work and you work for a good company and everything's good, but your coworkers is a big, big impact at your job. That's the fact. Your co-workers, that work environment, that work culture, that means something. You know, there are people who will quit a good job, not because of the work itself, but the culture. Well, guess what? Your kids don't get to leave that school like you get to leave a job when the culture is not the best, when their co-workers or their classmates ain't the best. And you're thinking about the education, you're thinking about, you know, that they not applying themselves. You know, you're thinking about all these other things. Maybe the sports, you know, Junior good at football, so he got to go to that school. You know what I'm saying? This one is good at this over here. So we all chip in and we push this child to do better, and we scold them and you get on them and all this stuff, but you ain't realizing there's some other things that's going on in this school. And one of the things I'm gonna say this, and y'all can tell me, one of the things that people I think they need to understand is when you put your school, when you put your kids in the top school in the district, you have to understand if you're a minority, they're automatically going to be with the 1% and 2% of that whole school. And you don't know what they're dealing with day in and day out. Because when you watch social media and y'all see these Karens out here, you know, we call them Karens. Guess what? Them Karens' children going to your kid's school. And if their mama act like that, you can imagine what them kids acting like. And them same kids in your kids' English class, social studies class, history class, they the one, they sit in 2-3 desks, maybe even right next to your child. Your child got to see them every day. And I think this is some of the stuff that, you know, a lot of people, that when you do it this summer and you go and you decide that, okay, you know what, I'm going to take my kid out of this school and I'm going to move to this district, that you have to factor in. Going to the best school in the district doesn't mean you're going to have the best experience. Doesn't mean you're going to have the best culture. And are you prepared for all the, you know, the totality of everything that's going to come about? So that's where I'm throwing the line out there. You know, Fish, you know, Chee, Squeeze, my love. You know, y'all tell me, you know, how y'all feel about this.
I'm gonna let you go first, Kingfish, because I know your father had worked in the school districts.
Right. Yeah, Chris, your father worked in the school district.
And
so
you're very much a father figure to a lot of kids too. So yes, have the floor.
Fish, you hear me? I can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Sound.
Is your microphone on?
Is the mic on?
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Oh, we can't hear you, Fish.
That's the hip hop coming.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Okay.
All right, cool.
My fault, man. I had to step away because we heard a gunshot outside. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. I thought I was going to have to go and do something, but everything good though. It's all right. But
you sit down. Or
hey,
we got you there. We on our way. We can meet Cheesesteak could be mobile now. I mean, we can make it mobile now.
Y'all know me. I've been in situations where
just because you live in the burbs now, that don't mean
right.
Exactly. You get on the floor.
When I hear something out of the ordinary, I'm trying to see where it's coming from.
Baby, did you literally try to get on the floor?
Yes, you did.
Babe, no, we don't talk about this, babe. No.
See, Mika say she about to pull up.
No.
Mika, you keep your tail still.
No, so
stop, drop, and roll. Okay, go ahead.
Here's my take. Here's my take on that. So, a lot of times, you know, the best schools or whatever, it depends on what you're talking about. So, just like you said, some people might make the move because of sports. Some people make the move because of academics. Some people make the moves because of peace. So they know their child. They know what their child can stand if they pay attention. A lot of parents don't pay attention. They think that their teaching stops at the moment that the child starts to go to school. and it's all up to the teachers. It's
Mhm.
not.
Okay.
Your teaching continues. My parents put books in my hands. They made me read, not only during before I was going to school. Once school was in, I still read. So I kept up the thing of gathering knowledge. So me going to different schools, I can say this. I went from when I went to middle school, I ended up in a Vanguard program. Um, I got there and I had to deal with culture shock because where I ended up going, I didn't. It was more other races than it was of mine. So that was my first time having to deal with that coming from my neighborhood.
Mm.
Not only that, that I had to deal with kids, I had to deal with teachers that I that weren't didn't look like me. So a lot of different teachers had a lot of different ways of thinking. They had ways of doing things and I wasn't used to. So it was a culture shock. So me getting the best education, I got more education in life than I did in school.
Mhm.
So I had to see something different that I wasn't ready for. Now, I wasn't ready for it up to a certain point because I had parents that taught me about life and different things and how everything is not just going to be so sweet.
Right.
So once again, that's the lessons at home that has nothing to do with the school. But
Mhm.
once I got to the school, then I was kind of prepared for what I was seeing. Now, did I handle it right? Nah, because I ended up getting kicked out of that school. Now, I'll be honest. So
Dang.
ended up coming back to my school district, dealing with my people and being all right. But in certain neighborhoods, you know how it is. You can go through situations. So a lot of times it was a chore just getting to school, coming through different situations, having to fight on the way in, having to fight on the way home. So that right there is the peace that I'm talking about. You don't have a peace like you feel like you should have
Right.
going to school. So ended up getting moved from there, ended up where I was, where I ended up going to high school. And once again, culture shock. So here I am thinking, okay, I really didn't want to go to the school. My parents thought it was best for me because of life going on, brothers getting locked up and things like that. So they figured they moved me in an area to where it might be a little bit more safe or be better. And around about that time is, going out there is when I got arrested. So
Mm.
end up in a situation. I didn't have anything to do with what was going on, but once again, I got a culture shock. In the area where I was, the police weren't for me. I just say that they wasn't for me. So I had to deal with certain situation, and once again, got out of that situation because I was being taught at home how to deal with certain things. So coming out of that, never getting in trouble again, and still having to deal with everything that I was dealing with um, at the school, having to deal with certain situations. I ended up coming out of that school and was not at peace while I was there. I played ball. I did certain things. I was able to uh, accumulate some interest in colleges, some certain scholarships. Didn't end up going because I got hurt, but I had it rough a little, a lot of time in that school that was supposed to be better for me
Mm.
to where I ended up dropping out for a time. Ended up going back. Um, an assistant principal who was once my teacher there, who was for anybody that went to school with me, they know he was probably the meanest person at that place. this man put in a call to my father to have me come back.
Mm.
Oh wow.
But there goes, like you said, my dad worked for the district. My dad
Mhm.
was a janitor at the school. He stopped driving trucks and decided to be a janitor at my school because he knew what I was going through at the
Mm.
school. So he did that in order to try to keep me level-headed, try to keep me sane. During that time he was there, he taught a whole bunch of other kids how to be men, how to be young ladies. You know what I mean? And he was a janitor. But people saw more in him than they saw in a lot of the educators there
Mm.
because he was teaching life. So like I said, a lot of things you need, you supposed to get from home.
You are.
The
Right.
piece
Mhm.
that you need, you're supposed to have that at home. The understanding, the way how to carry yourself, how to be a great young man, a great young lady, that's supposed to start at home, and then those things carry on.
Right.
But let
We
me
don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of people that walk around to actually know these schools because there's a lot of money in these schools. Does not mean that they are best fit for you
Mhm.
because you're not on the school board. You don't know what everything is going on. You don't know how the teachers are. You don't know if the teachers really care. You don't know if
Mhm.
their workload is a little bit much
right.
because everybody is going to that school because everybody says that school is the thing to be in.
Right.
And then these teachers get overloaded. These kids is coming in, don't have no respect for nobody
Mhm.
because once again,
Starts at
it's
home.
either too much money or lack of money.
Right.
So it'd be frustration on both sides, and they bring that to the schoolhouse, and the teachers can't do
Right.
their jobs.
But then to add on what you're saying, Chris, when you have, like you say, too much money or lack of money, a
Mhm.
lot of times your kids are in the middle of that.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
where it is right there. Man,
Yes.
some way, shape, or form, they're gonna fall on one of them two sides of the fences,
Right.
right? And
Right.
that's where you're gonna find yourself when you're talking to your child and you're trying to figure out how come Junior this way,
Mhm.
how Junior start acting this way,
Mm-hmm.
start behaving this way.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chris was saying, a lot of these teachers are not the way they used to be.
Right.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, I'm just gonna keep it honest with y'all. We gonna keep it 1,000. A lot of teachers don't even look the same no more.
No.
When I was in school, a teacher looked like a teacher. You know what I mean? She looked like a teacher. These
It's
teachers nowadays, they be on OnlyFans, they be on
it, here's
Instagram Live, they be
man. Let me tell you
twerking in
something.
videos, and
Here's why.
they're not
Here's
the same
why.
no more.
Here's why. We got to understand something, man.
Go ahead. Say it, Chris. Say
I
it, Chris.
had I had my brother's teachers who my brothers had their older cousins teachers.
Mhm.
I'm
So
eight
by the
and ten
time she come
years.
to you,
I'm 8 and 10 years
she
younger
about
than my brothers.
65.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? You'd be
Right.
like,
They
About
age.
75 by
by
the
the
They're
time
time
we get
I
to you.
by the time
one
I yeah, by the
season.
time I get to her, she already got 30 years in the game. You know what I'm saying?
She about 75, Chris. She's 75,
But
80 by the time you get over to you.
yeah. Or
So yeah,
here's but here's the thing. But see, then once I got to middle school, I caught some coming right out of college.
Mm.
So that's why I was
Mhm.
like, oh, okay.
not even then. Look, but we
This
were
this
in
this
our
this what they was
era.
talking about. But here's the thing though. Once again, social media is everything.
Right.
Mhm.
Uh it
You,
changes how
right.
people view things. Everything is a way to get
Right.
not only attention but funds. It's a
Right.
way to get those things. And
Mhm.
can they do their job? That's the thing. Can they do
Right.
their job? And
Mm.
are you willing to really have conversations with these teachers to see whether or not they can really do their job? And are you also willing to help them be able to do their job? We couldn't
I agree
act
with
up in
that.
school, man.
Mhm.
we could not act up in school. Our parents would
Right.
come up there.
Right, but right there, Chris, it ain't you go up there now. Remember now, the kids now acting up in school. The
Right.
parents come up, and the parents act worse than the kids.
But this is what I'm saying. It
You know what I'm
starts at
saying? It's like,
home.
It
what?
starts at home.
It starts at
home.
home. If
Right.
your parents don't have any self-respect for themselves,
Or they don't respect for the teachers. Or
but
the
they don't
system.
they start with not respecting themselves.
Right.
And not respecting
You-
their parents either.
You're not gonna come up. I mean, we know what it is. We're old enough to remember our parents having to come up to a school, and you don't know what they talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
Yeah.
know what them and that teacher talked about. You don't know what your parents and the principal spoke on because you were not sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a thing for you to try to have a rebuttal, to go back and forth and all that kind of stuff.
No.
I can remember getting in trouble in school, and they called my mama. Mama came from work.
Mm.
Hey, we all know
Understand what
that
I'm
one.
saying?
Oh, you
Mama
gonna get
came.
it when you get home.
Thank you.
Woo, at the
Mama
school.
came. Nah, it wasn't that. It wasn't
You get
that.
it.
I didn't get it. Let me tell you
Man.
something.
Woo.
Mama came from work.
You
She had
getting
to
it
go
in
to
the car.
job.
She came in here. Now my mama worked at Herman Hospital.
Oh shoot.
Where she
Oh,
got this belt,
not
where she got a
Herman.
belt from, I don't know. All I
She
know
kept it
is
in the car.
she walked in that mug with a belt.
The belt of knowledge.
So
Is that what you
she
call it,
said,
Dad?
she
Belt
said,
of knowledge.
I need him. I
Mhm.
came up there. We didn't make it outside. She
I'm him, huh? I'm him, like they say. Huh?
she got me in front of the class
Mm.
Told you
for
about
acting up. She got me in front of the class. The kids started laughing. She
Mhm.
stopped on me and she turned to them. Y'all want some?
See,
The whole classroom got quiet. Teacher
but
didn't
see,
say a word. She went back on me and she said, sit down. When we get home, your daddy gonna get you too.
yep. Then we.
And I'm gonna
But
tell him I
see,
had to come from work.
Mhm.
but
Bro,
see,
I didn't have no more issues in that school.
right. But see, right. We know, but see, we grew up with that. The
Right.
problem is society has taken a lot of that out of the parents' hands. So you cannot
Yeah.
put your hands on these kids.
Not necessarily.
You know, no, it's true. You can't put
I
your hands on these kids like the way we grew
Well,
up. You can't put your
there.
hands on these kids like
well,
that.
you can't
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can find ways to go around that. We
Right.
all know that. But
Well,
what I'm
some
saying
people don't
is,
know how to discipline either.
exactly.
There's some people that
Exactly.
just don't know how to
Exactly.
discipline their children.
right, but
And
then that's the thing, right? When do you
discipline and
discipline your
abuse is
kids?
two different things.
It's two
Right, and we
different
know
things.
that, right?
Yeah.
We know the difference. But the problem is, again, society has made it that you are not to touch these kids. And you got to find all these different programs, and you got to go and talk to them and find different outlets, and you know, there are people who are flat out in our generation, I'm talking about now, that don't believe in corporal punishment for
And
their
and
children.
that's fine.
You know,
If you're teaching your child from
Right.
the moment they start walking, what no means, what yes means,
Hmm.
well, every
what
child is
what
different, right?
what my voice
Every
means,
child is different.
if it gets elevated,
Right,
that means sit your tail down somewhere.
right,
You know what I'm saying? And then to have respect for
Mhm.
other people, not just
Right.
adults, but for
right.
people in general. If that thing is not being taught, then when they get to their school, once again, it's gonna be a culture shock. Because that with that teacher says, hey, sit down.
Hmm.
That means just what it says. Just
And
what that person says.
But
there's
these
some
kids,
teachers that have control of
Yeah,
their classroom too.
yeah.
And
You
they
know
never
who to
had
play
to
with, who not to.
exactly. So them kids know what they're doing. They know who to test.
but
And
but
I'm
but
I'm gonna tell you something. My wife worked in the school. She worked in the
Mhm.
schools. She wasn't a teacher. She was an aide. She was a person. She worked in the office, but she would have to go in and sometimes substitute a class.
Mhm.
When she would go in there, oh, here come Miss Fisher.
Uh,
They already knew
right.
because she's short. She dang near the height of some of them kids, but they knew who to
Right.
play with and who not to.
Right.
Some of them teachers couldn't even control their own classroom. But my wife would come in there, and she say what she say, and she mean it.
Right.
And when the parents came up there, she ain't bite her tongue. She said exactly what she need to say to them parents too. And you know what
Mhm.
them parents start doing? Miss Fisher, here's my number. If they get out of line or whatever, you call me. You know what she say? I'll take your number, but I ain't gonna have to call you because they ain't finna get out of line with me.
Respect.
It's respect.
But
Mhm.
and what you're saying makes sense. So when we talk about the topic tonight, which is at what cost to your children, right? At what cost do we put them in a position to succeed?
Right,
That's because everything we're talking about worked a lot for our generation. It
right.
did. We know that it could, a lot of it could work for this generation.
Hmm.
The problem is we can't necessarily apply a lot of it because society has laid out something different. Because even if you're in your house and you're doing all the things right by your children,
Right,
they're going to school and they're seeing things out here.
right.
They're learning a lot more than what we learned when we
Yeah,
was in school.
yeah.
They're learning
They're
how to deal with
exposed
stuff
to
now.
more. They're
They're
exposed to a
exposed
whole
to
lot
more.
more.
And here's the
Right,
thing: a lot of parents don't understand about your children. Your
Mhm.
children may look like you, they may even act like you, but they're not built like you.
right,
Mhm.
That's the number one thing parents gotta understand. They may
yeah,
look like you, they might act like you, they're not built like you. And what I mean by that is their mental capacity may not be as strong as yours. And so
right,
because you may be able to handle some stuff in school, you might be able to handle bullying. You might be able to handle somebody saying something to you and you clap back and all this other stuff.
right,
Your child may not be able to handle that. So they
right,
shut down. They try to tell you something. They get home, they try to explain it to you, and you gonna try and tell them you better figure it out. They
right.
try to, you want them to stay at this school, go to this school
Once
in this
again,
district because it's the
right,
best school in the district, and you feel as if my child is smart. I know he or she is smart, and they're gonna be successful. And I know they better not act up in the school. They better
and
not. You see what I'm saying? And
once
you're not
again,
listening to what they telling you though.
yeah, but once again, that's something that's at home, like you're saying. That takes you trying to. You're not trying to be your child's friend, but you are trying to give your child an ear. A lot of parents don't listen to their kids.
Mhm.
They don't listen to see what's actually going on. A lot of them
Right.
don't even ask how your day was.
That's how we was raised, Chris. Like
A
that's
Yeah,
lot of
how
but
I
is
was
that
raised.
but is that the right way
a
to
lot
handle
of us a lot of us were raised like that. But at the same time, you got some that wasn't. You had
it?
some
Mhm.
that parents that they actually cared.
Right.
You had some that came from not
Yeah, and
not
we know
not a
them in
two
school. We knew who they
not
was
a
in
two
school.
parent.
My
Yeah,
dad asked that. He was like,
right.
how was school? And
Right.
my father was very involved, especially when we had
You
homework.
you have some that came from two parent households, and you have some that came from single parent households.
Mhm.
Now, depending on that parent
Or that situation too.
or that
Yeah.
situation,
Right.
you might have some that you know what, I do not want my child to grow up like I did.
Mm.
Hey, something simple. How was your day? How'd everything go?
Right.
How's this class going? You know, what your grades look like?
Mhm.
You need some help? You need some help on your homework? You might
Right.
need a tutor. You need some. They are involved.
Right.
I have someone, man, and I went to school with, man. His parents never came to none of his functions, none of his games, none of that stuff.
Wow.
And it was sad to see when we would have parent night and no parent was there. That's
Mhm.
sad. It doesn't make any sense. Knowing that you're actually at home, you're not at work, you're not doing the, but you're at home
Right.
Mhm.
and you're not involved. So, like once again, bad habits start at home.
But
Going to a a better school or whatever, if you still are you transferring those bad habits over to that new school, it's not going to be good for the child. That child needs to that child is going to have to do more adjusting than you have to.
Yeah,
Mm.
but also I'm gonna put it like this though. A lot of us knew how to act in school. Like I acted
Yeah.
completely different in school than I did at home. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Right. Right.
couldn't
Right.
say the things I could have said at home. I couldn't do the things I was doing. Right? I'm acting up. I'm
Yeah.
doing whatever. I'm saying whatever. Hanging with
Because
certain
you
people.
felt some kind of freedom.
Right? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I understand my
That's the
parents ain't
part.
there.
Yeah.
Right? My
Yeah.
mom
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
But
dad not there.
you
Right?
also knew your tail would be handed to you
Right. I
had
mean,
you gotten a lot
And
of trouble.
right.
certain just like with certain opportunity, you know when to act up. You know what teacher to act up with.
Right.
Right,
But
You know
right.
those teachers. You know those teachers that are trying to be friends. Don't want to call nobody on you. Don't you know what I mean? Trying to work because a lot of them are still trying to figure it out. Like you said, Chi, a lot of these teachers are they're brand new. A lot of them coming right out of college. They don't know what to do, how to act, and different things like that.
well,
I
because
know
they're the
we
same age or close enough to some of them same
yeah
kids.
yeah
They're only like a
exactly
5 year difference. Only like
man.
four or
Look,
5 year difference.
I look when I was 18 in school, I tried to holler at one of my teachers. They get
Lord, I know.
disrespected all the time. I'm sorry.
Well, that's
I
because
did.
we
I'm
all
not
had
gonna
that
lie.
one teacher that was fine. Everybody got that
Uh,
one teacher that was
You
fine,
know,
and he happened to be in
and
her class. You know,
I felt like I probably had an opportunity because she didn't
Chris,
say
you
no.
ain't never had
She
opportunity.
said
You
I
ain't
was
Babe,
never had no
she
opportunity. I
babe.
look,
promise you.
There are teachers
she
that's
said I
kind
was too young. She said you are too young. And when my birthday hit, I came back.
of
I said I'm
Chris,
18 now.
Chris. And you know what? That's probably why all these teachers now
because
mess around with these students out
they
here.
not too far from their ages. Let
Right,
let me tell you something. I getting to the subject at hand.
right.
The education system and everything, it can be out of whack. No matter whether you go into a level 5 school or a level 10 school.
Hmm.
The difference is definitely the resources, yes.
Yeah.
But they still have bullying in each school, but it might be a different type of bullying, right?
Oh,
Right.
They
it's
may
mental.
have drugs at both schools,
Yeah,
but it
Yep.
might be weed at the level 5, but cocaine in
yeah,
the level 10.
Our daughter told us
yeah.
the story about that. She said
Yeah,
this girl,
in
who
the
was
back of the
it
bus.
Nidhi
It
or
was the
Maya?
back of the bus. Babe,
No,
Yeah.
it was one of
no,
the kids.
no. There's another one in the classroom. It was Maya. Maya said, I think it was Didi was the
Babe,
girl in the
you
desk.
don't dime nobody
We
out. You
don't do
don't say
names,
you
bro.
said it.
We don't do names. That's
They
why I
done
say what school.
graduated. They
That's
done
why I say what
graduated.
school.
It's look, we
That's all
know
good.
because our kids have experienced some stuff, right?
We ain't got no
So
kids
But
in that school no
but
more.
here's a great thing about y'all kids. They shared that with you.
that's true.
Right.
That's
And
true.
and I
Y'all
think that's
y'all
another thing too, man.
yeah.
Parents have to,
Like,
and I think that's
hey,
another thing we need to address right now. Like a lot of parents, man, like again, when I said they may look like you, they may talk like you, they may act like you, they're not built like you. So
Right.
that means that you got to change your approach. That that disciplinarian, authoritarian way that we kind of grew up in, when your mom used to say, "Because I said so," do as I say, not as I do. That's not going to work a lot with
Yeah.
what your kids got to deal with nowadays. So you have to adjust. There's nothing wrong with you being, we got to swallow pride as parents
Yeah.
and understand what's best for my child, right? This is your child that you love, you care about, you want the best for. You can't be their friend because they got the friends they got is the ones in their school. That's
Yeah.
their friends,
Yeah.
right?
It's
you want to be their
it's
mentor. You
You
it's
want to
want
be
to
it's
be
their
the
the
men,
confidant.
but you
Your
have to have a
right.
balance, right? But you have to be a jack of all trades to your child. There
right.
are times where your child needs for you to be a parent, and then you're
Right.
gonna have to explain to them that them days for telling people do as I say just because I said so. Them
Mm,
days don't work no more.
no,
Your
they
These
don't.
your
kids got too much information, too much access to
yes.
information,
Yes.
so you can't just tell them that. You
You
have to tell them, explain
you
to them
yeah.
consequences. Go ahead.
Mickey, you're right. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. My parents had relationship with the bus driver.
Go
You know what I'm saying?
ahead. They go to the
Relationship with the
bus.
bus driver. You know what I mean? You know
Yes.
what? Yep. I'll be calling your mama. I'm
Yep.
like, dang, can't even act up on the
But
bus.
They
Can't
they
get away.
even got the phone
But
number. They got the
but
phone number.
but once again, I mean, a lot of that is you can't be a dictator the whole time.
Right.
You have to be someone that your child can trust with
Mhm.
certain situations to where they can actually come and talk to you. Once again, it's not trying to be your child's friend, but being a counselor.
Right.
Counselor starts at home. It's not just somebody's job at the schoolhouse.
Right.
You know what I mean? They have to be able to speak to you on certain things that's going on. That way they're able to handle certain situations. I can say this. My niece, who I raised, so she's basically my daughter. She had a situation. She was having an issue on a bus, and it was going into the school. She
Mhm.
had a group of girls that would try to bully her the whole time. They was messing with her the whole time. She would come home, she'd be frustrated. Now, if anyone knows
Mhm.
my wife can go from 0 to 1,000 when it comes down to somebody messing with somebody,
Mhm.
any of hers.
Right.
So I'm listening. I didn't act anything. I'm listening, and my wife is saying how she's gonna get on the bus. Oh, she gonna get on them kids. We gonna go to the schoolhouse and this and that.
the daggone
So
Raquel.
Go
one
ahead,
one of
Raquel.
one of what
I'm with
my
her.
my 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 daughter's friend was on the bus with her,
Mm.
and she's real meek and mild. She's a real meek and mild type person. She's not a rah rah person at all. She's on that with her. They start messing with her. Here come her mama. Came over to our house. Her and Raquel in there riled up. We gonna get on there. We gonna tell them such and such. And I'm sitting there listening the whole time. I'm like, okay, y'all gotta handle this different. This not gonna work. You can't just go on there and jack up somebody's child. That ain't gonna work.
Right. No.
You don't run up on some of these parents because you don't know everybody. That's not
Right.
gonna
Right,
work. I
right.
said, look, I looked at the kids. Y'all gonna have to handle this.
Mhm.
It's a certain way to handle this. They barking. Everything that y'all telling me, they're barking. They're not about that. They're not gonna do anything. Y'all need to handle yourselves.
Right.
The way you're gonna do this is you're gonna do this, 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 and this. I guarantee they're gonna leave you alone. What ended up happening, and I had to talk to my wife and the other
Mhm.
parent. Let them handle it. If y'all try to do that stuff, it's gonna make it worse. We're in different days and times nowadays.
Right.
That stuff will end up on social media. They get talked about, all that kind of stuff. Let it work. Let them work through it. They got on that bus. Them girls started to do something else again. Mine,
Mhm.
yeah. Up on old girl. The other two back down. They left her alone.
That's it.
That's
They ain't
it.
bother her since.
That's
You know what
good.
I'm saying? The
That's
rest of the
right.
whole time. Matter of fact, one of them tried to be her friend. They came home and told everybody what went on. I ain't
Mm.
move. I ain't
See,
budge. I was just like, you got to know how to handle certain situations.
Yep.
Now, what you talking about, Chief? These kids having to go to certain places, having to deal with certain things. A lot of them are not able to handle certain situations because they're not being taught how to handle certain situations. They're not
Gotta teach
being
them.
groomed on how to handle it. It's cool to go to a new place to get a better education,
but you're taking the
but
same problems over there.
you're taking the same problems. If you're not able to handle certain situations when they come up,
Mhm.
then let's be honest. In some of those bigger schools that have all the resources, they have more money and things like that. Those are the schools where you have shootings. Those are the schools where
Man, a
you
lot
have
of them
all
are
these
mass
different
shootings.
things
A
go
lot of
on
them. Hmm.
Right. Right.
because their parents have checked out. You think because we're in this better school, we're in this better place, that nothing's going to happen. That's not
That's
correct.
not even the case.
Some
Right.
of these
Mhm.
lower level schools have some of the best teachers.
Right.
Let's be
Right.
honest.
And they
But
not just some of the best teachers, some of the best paid teachers. They
some of
they
the
actually
best
get
paid.
pay them a lot of money because the regular teachers want to go to the best schools with the
Right,
resources,
because
so to speak.
they think that the resources mean
Right.
safety. They think that the
Right.
resources mean peace. They think that the resources mean everything is going to be better, but no, because a lot of these troubled kids ended up going to these better schools because their parents are able to pay for it, or their
Yep.
parents are able to move.
That's
They
it.
bring bad habits. Once again, you're transferring bad habits over into these
Right
other
into that
schools. After a
school.
while,
Mhm.
what's going to happen? They're going to open another school, and now people going to flee. They're going to go over there. We
Yep.
see it
Or
all. We see it all the
they're
time.
gonna find a way to kick that child out. It's
They're
a
going to find
different
a way to
type
kick
of
their child out.
it's a different
Yeah.
type of stress. It's a different
Yes.
type of stress.
I
But
know a kid. I know a kid in our neighborhood, and God bless his kid, man, because what he did was he went and he spoke to his mother. His
Mhm.
mother listened.
Mm.
He was over here at one school. I ain't gonna say where it is, but he was over here at one school, and he's a good student.
Okay.
And he was trying to play ball. He's trying to play football, and they wouldn't play him. He's a big kid,
okay.
but they wouldn't play him. This kid came to his mother and say, "Look, Mom, I talked to God."
Mm.
Yeah, he's like ninth grade. I talked to God. Uh, God told me to go to this school over here. She's like, "What? I'm not. You need to go talk to God again because I don't know what you." So he went back. He came back again.
Mm.
Mom, look, God told me not only do I need to go to that school, I need to go now.
Oh.
Mm,
She's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yes." He said, "I'm not gonna make it here. I gotta go there.
mm.
I'm gonna make it." She went ahead. She got him out of that school, got him over to the other school, walked on, walked in there, started,
Hmm.
started on the
Mm.
football team, went to
Wow.
state. The other school didn't at all. He went to
Wow.
state, started getting letters. This young man right now already got his degree from Texas A&M.
Get
Already got
out.
it.
Wow.
He did it in 3 years. Got his degree in 3 years. Decided to
Wait a
go
minute.
back. He could have went into the draft this year. He decided to go back. He's gonna get another degree and still play on the team. So, like I said, God bless him because he
God
comes out
bless.
next year. He will be a first rounder
Mm.
with two
Mm.
degrees.
Look at
And
that.
this is what he
All
said.
because.
All
Hmm.
because his parent listened to him.
Right.
Hmm.
He said, "Look, I can't do it over here. Look, I'm gonna go through this place." He got his scholarship to A&M. He went there.
Wow.
He said, "I'm buckling down. I'm taking as many classes as possible." That man graduated in 3 years.
I commend him for
In
that.
3 years,
Man, that's
and came
amazing.
out. But
Wow.
it
And I
started
commend the
with
parents too.
right. It started with
Hmm.
him being able to come to his parent
And
and
she
say, "Hey,"
listened. She
and
listened.
she listened.
That's
Now
the
that
key
school
about
that
that.
school was fairly new when he went there, but he got everything that he needed. He got all the things that he needed because he wasn't getting it where he was.
Right.
And
And
he went into a situation where he transferred the good behavior over there, and it ended up helping to change other people who was coming in with bad behavior. So a lot of times is what you already instill into your children,
Hmm.
whether it's a good school or bad school, whatever they say it is. I it, Whatever you instill into your child can affect others
Right.
and turn certain situations into better situations.
right.
But I mean, man, you do what you got to do for your kids.
Yeah, but
To go
and
back to
that's
what we
right.
say,
And
Right.
that's what I'm
you do
saying.
what you got to do, but you also need to recognize when it ain't working, when
Mm.
that
Right. But
particular
see, and that's
situation is not
it.
working.
But the problem is a lot of parents, they make a certain amount of money,
Right.
Yeah,
They got a certain level of education.
Yeah.
That's why they live in that neighborhood. That's why they
Right.
bought that
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for them to stray away from the things that they've done,
Right.
Yes.
the
Yeah.
situations they've had to encounter,
Yeah.
the obstacles they had to go through
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
to get to where they are. And they try to put that on their children. If I can do this, you can do that. If I
Right.
can do this over here, you can do this over here. And they don't understand that your child is not you. And more
Right.
importantly, we need to tell people that just going to these schools, like your kid going to the best school in the district, is not necessarily, may not be for them. But
Yeah.
you as a parent have to understand there's nothing wrong with you going to a school that's
Mhm.
not necessarily the best one in the district.
Right.
You ain't got, I ain't saying you ain't got to go. Let's say this school down here has a level 3 academics, you know, a lot of things going to this school, and it's a level 10. Well, guess what? Your child could go to a level 6 or 7 school and
Right.
flourish because
Right.
there's a balance in there. They might
Yeah.
find some friends that, because you go to level 10 school, let's just be honest. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Your kids go to level 10 school,
It's
the
more challenging.
academics, our daughters had to struggle with this. I remember a time when mine came home and what was it, babe? She had gotten like a 90 or something on a quiz.
It was like a 96 or
No,
something.
what did I say? It was a 90. It was a 90 or 91. It was real. It was a low A.
Okay.
Right.
But
Like
because
a 92 or something.
yeah, something like that. But because the class was so academically gifted that 92 was like one of the lowest scores in the class at an A.
Right.
So she considered herself dumb or slow or something wrong with her and didn't even realize, do you realize you got an A? But
Yeah.
because everybody else that her friends or classmates was getting 97, 98, 100, 99,
Right.
that affected her. Now,
So
take
the
the
question
same level.
the question is, how did y'all
How do we deal with that?
how did y'all deal with that?
Well,
And getting in her head that, hey, this is not bad. At the same time, be like, but you know you can do better.
what we had to do is one thing that we taught our girls was life is about balance.
Right.
So you made a 91 here, but guess what? Your classmates made a 98, 99. All they do is study. You're in choir, you're in this Japanese club mine was in. Didi was doing some other stuff, journalism. I said, you're a well-rounded student. So yeah, you might get a 92. That's because you have all these other things going on. So you're well-rounded. So we have to explain that to them so that their self-esteem didn't hit the floor.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so as a parent, you're going to have to do that, right? Because at what cost?
Still proud of her. We're still proud of her.
Right. She speaks 2 different languages. So there are benefits to your kids going to level 10 schools that are high-end schools. The problem is
she graduated cum laude.
Right. But every child ain't like that. And that's just facts.
Right.
Everybody ain't like that. And majority of us is not like that. Majority of us ain't graduating way up there like that. And what I mean by that, and because you graduated like that, doesn't mean your child is gifted like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna do it. Yeah. You don't down them because okay, you made this. But at the same time, you uplift them and you celebrate what they did. And recognize that they got something in them that wants to do better. You got a lot of kids that be like, man, it's a 91. It is what it is. But then the next time they'll make an 85.
And that's what we're saying.
They'll make an 80.
You know what I mean? She started studying with her friends.
Right. And that
together.
Yeah, because you don't want them to be like, it's passing.
Right.
You don't want that.
Right.
You don't want that because that now you just happy with just doing a bare minimum. And that's not gonna do nothing but translate to other things. You know what
And
I
I
mean?
think right, and I think the whole purpose, a lot of parents that you're watching, there's a lot of parents that's going to be listening to this. Yes, you want your kids to go to a good school,
Yeah.
but the purpose of you doing it is because you want your kids to get into a good college, right?
Yes. Hmm.
The number one thing that you need to know about your child is that kids are going to start developing. By the time they hit high school, there's a level of development that's going to start happening.
Hmm.
And as a parent, you have to start looking at that development time frame and start acknowledging what your kid is actually good at, what's their
Right.
gift, what their
Right.
talent is.
Right.
And it may not necessarily be them going to a 4-year university.
No.
And that's the first thing we got to get out of our heads. You don't have to go to college to
Nope.
be successful. And this
You
generation has
learn
been
a
showing
trade.
that. Now, you ain't got to even do a trade. These kids making money on YouTube, Instagram, social media. They're making bukus of dollars doing what? Their talent. They're playing
Yeah.
video games.
Yeah.
Back in the day, video games, your parents would tell you, get off that thing. You can't make no money.
Well,
They're making
what
plenty money
a lot
on these video games.
I would, and the reason why I said the trade thing, I mean, when we was in school, we had Job Corps, we had
That's what I'm saying. You had
we
a
had different
trade.
things like that, and even with the computers and stuff like that, man. Look, if you're that interested in computers, man, why don't you try to learn how to code? Learn some of these different things to where
they got that
not
online now.
you're not gonna be
Yeah,
without a job.
Right.
Man, these
Look,
kids
that's
can
my
break down anything.
man,
I mean, these kids so good at these. They take your phone and they find things
dude.
and they tell like it's nothing. Oh, you didn't know you could do this? How
I,
many parents go to their kids? How many times you on your phone? I don't know. Many parents can acknowledge this, Chris. Tell me not lying. Tell me not lying. You on your phone and you do something on your
yep,
phone. And your child tells you or shows you something or they did something, and you
yep,
like, how you do
yeah.
How'd you
that?
do that?
How
How
you do
you do
that?
that?
How
How
you
did
do
you
How you
do
do
that?
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 Yes,
And that's
bro.
basic stuff. They ain't do nothing. To them, it's like, what you
They
mean you
know.
don't know this? Like, what you mean you
I
can't do this?
I went to school with a cat, man. I went to school with a dude that you never would have guessed this. I went to school with a dude who stole a computer. He stole it from the school piece by piece. Every day, he was taking pieces of the computer. He was
That's a
taking,
new one.
yes,
I'd have
he
heard
was
some
taking
rough
parts
talk.
out of the computer. He was stealing it, taking it to the house and building his own computer.
Wow.
Dude,
Wow.
That's
I'm
crazy.
pretty sure the way that this school was, man, if
That's
you just would have asked for,
beautiful.
if you would have
That's
asked for
beautiful,
an
man.
old computer, they probably would have just gave you
Right.
one. You ain't had to do that. So now you done got in trouble because, and end up, he got in trouble, but didn't get in trouble because they was amazed at the fact that this boy broke
It
down
built a
this
computer.
computer and you rebuilt this thing at home.
Right.
That's crazy.
But he couldn't afford it.
Right.
So he broke it down and built it at the house. But you'll be surprised at some of the skills that kids have,
Mm-hmm.
but they haven't tapped into it. But their parents don't even know that they have
Have
the
it.
skill.
Yeah.
And they show it all the time. How
They
many
show it all
times
the time,
they
but we
show it
don't pay
before
attention.
and you're not paying attention? That's it. And that's what I'm telling you for every single parent. Figure out what your child is great at. And
Yeah.
it's your job to help them fulfill that. If your child is good at playing instruments, they need to be in a band. If your child is good at basketball, they need to be on the team. If your child is running fast, they need to be in track. If they can kick a ball out this world, put them in soccer. You hear what I'm telling you? At the end of the day, if they can draw, they should be an artist. If they're
Yes.
good at computers, they need to be in computer
Design.
science,
Yeah.
IT, whatever it is they love, their passion. If they love video
Now,
games, let them know how to build one.
That's
here's
right.
the key. Here's the key to all of that. Once you figure out what they're good at,
Mm-hmm.
allow them to figure out that they're good at it.
Yes.
Do not force.
Right.
Just give a little nudge. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to push a child so much that
Right.
they lose the joy in the thing that they loved.
Right.
Or you force something that you want to do, or felt like you should have done onto your child.
Right.
Right.
My
That's
my
true.
my
I agree.
my father could play the guitar, and he played it by ear. Nobody really taught him. He learned how to play by ear. Both of my brothers were in band. My middle
Mhm.
brother can play 5 different brass instruments, right?
Right.
Mm.
My father, you know what? We don't have a piano player. You gonna play piano? I'm like, I don't want to play no piano, man. I don't want to do that.
You
You
trying to
gonna
get you
play
Jackson
piano?
5. You ain't finna be
You got
Randy,
You know what I'm
bro.
saying?
You finna be
He
Tito. You finna be
he
Tito.
pushed,
Go
man.
play.
He
play the
pushes so
guitar.
much. He pushes
You
so
finna
much.
be
I
Tay.
hated piano.
You trying to
So
be Randy over there.
I stopped playing. I stopped playing.
You
Now
know
here's the
King
thing.
Fish is a singer.
But here's the thing. I can sing a little bit.
Trying to be like
But
Mike over there. Daddy trying to put
nah,
him as Tito
You
Jackson.
know, you and Raquel can blow.
They can
Just
she
sing.
saying.
can. I
Y'all got
stand
to
in the
sing.
background.
No, she
But
said,
Hmm.
the thing was, okay, let's take Raquel. You know, they found out she could sing. They didn't know where it was coming from. They found out she could sing. Once
What?
they did that, oh, you know, she was on every praise team.
Ooh.
She leading solos. She doing all this different
Right.
stuff.
Mika, I just
And
got your message, so
and
I just thought of that.
it's like she still now ask her to sing something. She don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do it. She
Woo!
won't tap into it because she still has a shyness in her when it comes down
Mm.
to that.
Right.
She still has a thing to where she doesn't believe. Regardless of who says, man, you can sing. Do you know you can sing? Well, yeah. Now, you know me. If she says she can't, she gonna go in that room and she gonna try to sing something. Who gonna be at the door trying to record her without her
You
You,
knowing?
did.
It's gonna be me.
you,
Who
her
gonna
But
push her
husband.
out there?
but you know
Me.
what, man? The thing about it,
Who gonna show that you have this talent? Me.
You.
No,
but you
that's what a lot of these kids do not get. They don't get that
But you don't
somebody
force
cheering
it
them
though. But
on.
you
You
don't
don't
force
force
it.
it,
you don't
but
force it.
you got to cheer them on in the things that they're good at in
Right.
order for them to build that confidence to be able to go out there and do these things.
But I think you have to also create situations where they can maximize their potential.
Yeah,
And I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
think
yeah,
that's where it comes in. Because even like you
yeah,
say with Raquel, right?
yeah.
Raquel's an adult, it's a little different.
Right.
But you know, if
But she had
Raquel
that
has
gift
those
since
skills,
she was
right?
younger, right?
Right.
Yeah, she had that gift when she was
She
younger,
was
and
younger. So
she was put in certain situations to where she would have to
Hmm.
come out and do it.
and stay right. And so that
Right.
kind of see like maybe she was forced and now she's like, nah, I want to do this kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you know, this is what we need to do for people in our lives. Even to this day. I don't care how old you are, because we're talking about kids, but this could go for anybody.
Yeah.
Find something that your partner, your spouse, your friend, your siblings, something that they're good at. And if they can't, so it's for I'm gonna use an example. Raquel could sing. Maybe she might want to sing in front of everybody, but she
Yeah.
need to be around music. You get
Yes.
what I'm saying? Her
Yes.
gift is around music. Your gift will be around certain things.
I
My
will
wife
do
asked me,
karaoke with her.
right, but my wife runs into a different situation.
Yeah.
She until she says that it's true. She says, "What if you're good at multiple things? Right?
Right.
What if you're
Right.
good? You have a lot of things that you can do. What's the difference between a lot of things you can do and the thing that you're great at?
Yeah.
And the one thing that you're great at is going to be attached to the passion that you have for it with the least amount of effort. It's a thing that you could just do and you're so good at it, it's almost effortless.
Hmm.
That's the thing that that's your calling, that's your gift.
Yeah.
So you can be good at a lot of different things, but there's something that you're just great at, and it's really who you are. But a
Hmm.
lot of times with clouds, what we try to do is you're trying to figure out what it is that I'm good at. How is it I need to maximize it? What do I need to do with it? Instead of just stepping back and
Yeah.
stepping into it.
Do
Right.
you
Because if
Right.
you
think
Right.
that
step
these
back into it,
schools, though, do you think
right,
these schools are pushing kids into their gifts?
right, but
It
that's
it it
it. right?
it can be certain schools. You have certain
That's
schools
it. That have
that
the programs,
are designed
right?
to do that
Well, some
exact
schools
thing.
have the programs, and that's why people
Yeah.
want their kids to go to level 10 schools. Level 10 schools will have robotics. A level 3 school will have workshops,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You have
wood
some kids
class. You see
that's
what I'm
interested
saying?
in some kids that's interested in nursing and different things.
Right.
You know, they got schools for that
And
for
they
you to be
have
able to go into.
right,
And you have parents that say that notice, oh, you want to okay, well tell you what,
Right.
you're gonna go to this school. So
yeah,
you're not worried about sports, you're not worried about this, you're not
right.
you are worried about education, you're worried
Hmm.
about furthering your education,
And they
you're
have
worried
college
about doing the
prep,
thing that you right.
Right.
So
college
we're
prep
Right.
gonna
schools now.
we're
Yeah,
gonna put
right,
you in this. That way, you know what I mean? This is what you want? Okay. Well, tell you what, I'm gonna make sure you're able to go and do this thing.
right,
Mhm.
Now the failure, it won't be on the parent because the parent did everything that they could to
right.
put the child into a certain situation. Now,
Mhm.
if that child just does not, that kids can get burnt out on stuff.
Well, kids are
They
always
can't.
well. We got to know the difference between when kids are trying things out, right, and
Right.
versus what
Ex-
you
Mhm.
think they should do.
That's a great point.
Right? Kids
Yeah.
try things all the time. They'll be in love with soccer this week and be
Yes.
bored with it next week, right? They'll love
Yes.
baseball this week and then they
Yes.
want basketball next week. As a
Mhm.
parent, what you cannot afford to do, don't get frustrated with them. Understand that they're trying to find the thing that they love.
Right.
They will find it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's the important part. Your kids will find it. Your kids will find the best schools that they're going to flourish in,
Yeah.
not because you want your kid to go to level 10 schools. Your kid, here's what we found out. I'm gonna give you a little secret for all your parents want your kids to go to the best school in the district. Understand something. With their best grades, they might end up falling at the bottom half of that class
Yeah.
with all them A's. They
Yeah.
may have 2 or 3 B's and fall towards the bottom or the middle of their graduating class in a
Man,
level 10 school.
I
Watch this. They could go to a level 7 school that's right in the middle, take them same A's and B's. Now they're in the top 10% of their class. And
Mhm.
all
yeah.
them colleges you want them to go to with them level 10 school, they go to that level 7 school, and
Mhm.
then now they're in the top 10%. All
Yeah.
them colleges are getting them, and they're getting the scholarships. Remember, there's a guy that told us about this.
It was
His
several
daughter,
parents that told us about
several
it
parents
that
had
went to
their
the same
kids.
school.
Yep, let's go with our daughter, and they went to this other school in this district that wasn't far from the other school
Right.
where our daughters went, and their daughter was in the middle of the pack.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
because the school was so competitive, right?
Right.
The best school in the district, so competitive that when they transferred her transcripts from this school, which is level 10, to like the level 7 or 8 school, when she get to that school, she was in the top what? Bet when she was the top 3% of the school, something
Mhm.
like that.
Yep. That's what they said.
Top 3%.
And got a
Yeah.
full scholarship.
She got multiple full scholarships.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So she was almost right up there to be valedictorian because her grades
Yeah.
were so good.
It
And
it
they
it
they were
it
telling us the
happens.
pros and the cons.
Right.
But it happens. What did y'all do? Y'all listen to some parents. Y'all
There you
paid
go.
attention. Y'all listen to your child.
Right.
I went from one school to another school and fell behind just like that
Mm.
Yep.
in dealing with math because me going from this school to that school, it was like I missed a whole year of math.
Because
Wow.
So
where they were teaching. Yep.
They
they
at a
were
different level.
they
They
were
at a different level.
ahead. I
Mhm.
was
Right.
behind, and it if
That
you're like
gap.
that, it take you a minute to try to catch up
A
You're like,
gap.
because
Yep.
oh,
you missing a bunch of
you missed a
steps,
step. Mhm.
and it took a long time for me to catch back up. And I ended up having to do summer school and things like that to try to understand
Right.
to get
Right.
it, and it knocked me off of because where I was up here, and when I
Mhm.
was boom down here, I'm like, God, this don't make no sense, man.
And
I was so frustrated that that is part of the reason why my father had to come over there It's because I got so frustrated
Frustrated. But see,
because the teachers weren't listening.
right.
I'm
Right.
telling them, like, nah, I'm not. It's like I'm not slow. I'm not dumb.
You
I
just
know
haven't
this stuff,
right.
but this right here I'm missing.
Right.
Right.
My father had to come and tell him, "What, man? Look, he was in the Vanguard program. He was doing this. He was doing that." They like, "What?" Like, man, I've been telling you this the whole time. You're not
But you
listening.
see, but what you're saying, Chris, is absolutely right. And I think a lot of parents need to understand this in what you're saying.
They do.
Let me help you out real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
From the time your child enters the gifted and talented program in elementary school, that follows them. There's a list of people. Let me just tell you how it works. This is how it works in the educational system. Anybody as a teacher can vouch for this. They'll tell you. There are a list, right, that the district and that these districts get of kids who are in these programs. So there's certain programs that these schools are targeted that have certain level of kids.
Right.
So once your child is in a gifted and talented program or one of these gifted programs, they are already targeted from elementary school.
Yep.
Now what happens is they have to maintain that throughout elementary.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times they skip grades. A lot of times, they get tested based on certain things because they have to stay in that program. Then they go from that program right into a program that they have in middle school.
Right.
They get tested there, right? We're going to make sure that you're still on track.
Right.
So there's a trajectory based on these programs that's going to set your child on a different course
Yeah.
than the average child,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
still smart, who's still intelligent. So my point in saying all that is no different than when you at a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys do, a lot of parents are doing the same thing at a job as they're trying to do for their kids in education.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a certain job title at your job, there's certain job titles that are created to take you to the steps to be the CEO or
Right.
the CFO,
Yes.
right? Or to be a SVP, right? A senior vice president or president, all this other stuff.
Right.
There's certain jobs that are created for that. Certain titles are created so that it's just a stepping stone for you to get to the next level. It's no different than education.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I say all that to say, once you understand that with your child, there's nothing wrong with them, right? There's nothing going on with them. But once you understand that unless there's one of these programs that goes all the way here, it doesn't matter if they go to a level 10 school versus a level 6 or 7 school. It's not going to
Yeah.
make no difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not going to get anything different except, again, you go level 10 schools. I'm not going to bash a school like that. The school is that for a reason. They have the resources, they got the teachers, they have the money. And
Right.
yes, you
They
should
got the
want that.
programs.
Got the programs, right? That's like bashing somebody who lives in a gated community, right? You live in a nice home in a gated community. Nobody's
Yeah.
knocking that.
No knock on it.
However, if you got to sell your soul to pay that mortgage, well, guess what? That ain't the neighborhood you need to be in right now. There's
Right.
plenty nice big homes in non-gated communities,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
There are still extremely great programs in level 7 schools.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
at what cost, right? We're getting ready to wrap up. But
Right.
at what cost are you willing to put your child at risk just to say, I went to this school, or my child goes to this school, or my child in this program, my child this, and my child that? Are you
Yeah.
doing it that's best for them, or are you doing it that's best for your bragging rights?
I think that if you do it, if you make them move, make sure that not only your child goes, but you go. Be
Mm.
involved.
Right.
Be involved.
Be involved. Make sure
Well,
your
hold on, Chris.
child
What do you
is
mean by
safe.
that? When you say be involved, because
Be involved. So you can have,
no, we know
like
what
I
it
was
means to say be involved. We know that
right.
you should be
So
there, but
Right.
like your presence needs to be there. If you're around on a, if you can be on a school board, if you can show up and volunteer at the schools,
Right.
if you can be in an area to where your child is not feeling like they're there alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
They've left their friends. Now they got to go over here. They're a stranger to a lot of these kids. Now these days are different because these kids can connect with each other on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But
Right.
back during our time when we had to go from one place to another, and if it wasn't anybody there that they already knew, luckily when I went from one school to the other, I went to a school that I had cousins there.
Mm.
So it was a little bit better transition than some of my other friends who came from one school to another school that didn't have nobody there, and they
Mm-hmm.
had to try to
make friends and all that.
try to
Right.
it take all of that stuff goes together
It does.
to try to establish yourself and try to get education.
Right.
Right.
These teachers have to know. Some teachers will take the time to try to figure out, where you came from,
Mm-hmm.
what were y'all learning, what was going on. Do I have the time to bring this child along a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
or can you stay after
Okay.
school? Maybe we can try to catch you up. And what I'm saying as far as like getting involved or being present, man, just being there and understanding, not not just making a drastic decision and moving your child from this school to that school when you really didn't do your due diligence and learn exactly what's going on at that school.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
Learn what's going on in that district. Learn who's on the boards.
Right.
Who's on the boards over there. What are they trying to accomplish? Because
Accomplish. Mm-hmm.
those things happen.
It
We just
matters.
lost we lost I don't want to get my man's name wrong, but he's a product of Jack Yates. He
Mm.
just passed away not a couple of months ago, and this dude fought tooth and nail for things going on in
Mm.
HISD.
Wow.
He fought, and I mean every time there was something going on, you saw this little short gray haired dude loud. You heard him more than anything.
But
But
see,
he fought on these school boards. He fought for these things
He
for
had a
these
voice for the
kids.
people there.
He
right.
had a voice, but a lot of parents just go, y'all
But
take them.
see, and I'm gonna say this right here, and don't I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of parents, what I want you to do is really meditate, really think about what I'm about to say. Okay, I'm just gonna be real. In order for you, like Chris said, to be involved in your kid's life, it's gonna mean for some of y'all that you got to make a career change.
Yeah,
It's gonna
yeah,
mean that I know that you work for that job. I know how much money you make. I know you put in all these years,
yep,
but you can't put a price tag on your children.
Yeah.
They only get to do this once. They only go through the elementary, middle, and high school one time in their life.
yeah,
And I'm telling you, right now, especially nowadays, there are opportunities where you can work from home. And I'm gonna tell you now, some depending on your situation, I'm not counting nobody money, but I'm talking about from personal experience. Chrissy and I can vouch for this. I was working in oil and gas. I was making really good money. It
Mm.
was real good money. You know what I'm saying? My wife would tell you we made really good money at that time period.
Right.
But I was going 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And during the 2 weeks I was gone, our daughter started meeting people online and started doing meeting strangers and all kinds of stuff started
Mm-hmm.
happening. And of course, your kids will figure out some things because they figure out your schedule.
right,
Right.
right.
So what I had to do,
And I wasn't working working at home. I couldn't.
right, right, you wasn't
Right.
working home.
No.
But what we had to do was, right, my wife and I talked about this.
Yeah.
What we had to do was we had to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave up a lot of money on the table. A lot of money. I left a lot of money on the table to take a job that was about what Aaron's was about 2 miles away from the house, babe, if that.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 2 miles away from the house. And every day I picked my daughter up, my youngest, picked up every day I picked her up. Every day, my presence being at home because Christy had to work, right? So me being now this is before, like right now you could work from home. Back then it wasn't really like that.
Right.
So me just being 2 miles away, let me tell you how that made a huge difference in the household.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was 2 minutes or 2 miles away, or pretty much 2-3 minutes, if that, my daughters meeting people online, staying after school, trying to get in trouble, hanging around certain crowds, do certain things. A lot of that got eliminated because you know why? She know I'm she know I'm 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, when we said come home off that bus, Chris said, "Hey, ain't nobody stay after school. If you ain't in no sports, you in activities, you ain't stay after school.
Need to be there.
And if you have to stay after school, we need to have an itinerary because every time you stay after school, each one of them teachers got a curriculum or a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll know on Tuesday and on Friday you staying after school. On this day, on this day. This is how I'm just elaborating what Chris was saying. How you get involved.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
We knew their friends' names.
We knew their friends. We knew their schedule, and we about 2 minutes away. That made a huge difference. So when I tell you, you may have to switch your job up. When your presence is at home, your kids gonna act different. They ain't gonna plan. They're not gonna plot and plan things.
Well, Daddy can pop up at any time.
Daddy can pop up anytime. Mama can. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Because everybody doesn't have that older siblings. You know what I mean? That you can have say, hey, that parent can say, hey, make sure he or she is doing this and this and this.
And I'm gonna give
I gotta use you because I'm not gonna be at home until this time.
Right.
I need these things done. I was a latchkey kid, but my old man, he told my older brother, hey, if you can get home before I do, or you can get home before mama does, I'll give you this here. Make sure he already started his homework and he ate something. Man, my brother, to get that little chunk of change, my brother running. I'm talking about he running all the way past my school to make sure that he's at home. He didn't want to pick me up from school to make sure he's at home, and he beat my parents home to make sure I was straight. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't have that. So what you did, Chee, I commend it because you what you did was you chose your children
over my career, and I got a degree, got all that stuff. Was making six figures. I mean, I was making good money, and it paid off because
how they my daughters. That's it.
And then look how they turned out. You know what happened? Because once they start thinking about this stuff, and each child will come across that child over here that go to their school. Somebody got bad habits and bad behaviors and all kind of stuff. They call their friends, and once they got pulled in, the difference was. You can't do what they do because if they try to do it, they're going to have to sneak and do it. And they can't sneak and do it when they know daddy going to be home in 2 minutes. And I used to pop up. I used to be like, y'all better be on this bus. And guess what? There are times, Chris will tell you, I would just show up at the school. It wouldn't be nothing major. I'd just show up. I'd be like, you know what? But I would show up. Remember that time I would show up at lunchtime and just walk. I would just walk past the cafeteria. And go right around the school and go on out.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even do nothing. I just walk past the cafeteria. And the girls, Dad, were you in my school?
It's a mind.
I just want to let you know.
It's mind games.
It's a mind game. These are the things that you did. But it worked for me and Christy. But what if you're a single parent? Because that's great. You're a single parent. You can't be all day. I'm going to give you one secret thing. I know you may not want to do this, but I promise you it works. If you get a dog, I'm telling you, getting a puppy, getting a dog puts responsibility on your kids. Because here's what happens. I'm going to give you a little nugget of what happens when you have a dog. If you're not home and the dog is home, your kids have to come home and walk the dog. They got to come home and feed the dog. They got to come home and be responsible for the dog. So not only are you teaching them discipline, you're teaching them responsibilities. And last but not least, you know what you're doing? You're saving them behind. Because you know what they're not going to do? Stay after school and get in trouble. You know why? Man, I got to go home and walk the dog. I got to go home and feed the dog.
Yeah.
That little statement out their mouth could save their whole life. Because they're coming home every day to that dog and feed that dog and take care of that dog. You know what they're at? They're at the house. You know what they're not? In the streets.
Another thing is do your best to learn your children's friends.
Yeah.
Learn your children's friends. Yep.
Because you might have, and I'm just to age myself, but you might have an Eddie Haskell. That's coming around your house. They will laugh and grin and, hey, how you doing, Mr. So-and-so and Miss So-and-so? Yeah, we gonna do it. And as soon as they get out there, that's the one that's leading your children to do all kind of ignorant stuff.
And if you have them, like Keita said, you got to give them a way out. If you give your child a way out, because remember, kids' image is everything in school. Their image is everything to them.
Because yours was everything.
Because yours is everything to you. Right. But if you give them an outlet, guess what their friends gonna say? If they say, man, I gotta go home and walk this dog, feed this dog, and they pissed off, 9 out of 10 times their friends be like, man, yeah, I got a cat. My mom and them always leave me. Somebody got a story that's similar, so they don't feel out of place. Because they understand I gotta go home. Now they're gonna try to get tricky with it, right? Go home, feed the dog, try to leave the house. Now this way is a maneuver around that. But once they get home, now you checking on them. Are you home now? Okay, start your homework. Don't leave that house. Right? You don't got them home. You got them home on their free will because they know they got responsibilities.
Yeah. Don't call from a cell phone. Call from the house phone.
Call from the house phone. There are ways you can do this. So this is for parents. When we say what we said, right? Count the cost. At what cost are you gonna? At what cost to your child? You see what I'm saying? At what cost to your child are you going to get there? So we're getting ready to wrap up here. Been in here. This was really, really good tonight. We're not going to do the show on Tuesday. It's 4th of July. It's a holiday. So, everybody enjoy their family and everything. We will be back next Thursday live doing this again.
Christy got to get drunk on the 4th, so we can't do the show.
I have a natural high, sir. And anybody that knows me always know what's in my cup is not alcohol. Hey,
I'm just messing with you.
No.
She's full of life. She's full of life. That's all.
Exactly.
Natural high. I ain't
natural herb.
My bad, Mika. I'm sorry, Mika. Chrissy, I apologize. Mika,
natural herb.
Come for you.
Go ahead. I'll be drinking a lot of water.
A lot of spiked eggnog. Okay, good.
Yeah. So fire water.
Spiked water. I got X2O, Mama Linda.
X2O. But here's the deal, y'all.
Hey, let me. Can I share this?
Go ahead.
This will help. This will help with these kids. Make sure these kids get home. And I know we all heard this before. Tell your kids to take some food out when they get home, and I'm gonna cook it as soon as I get there. If you get home and that food is not thawed out, you know that they ain't been there. You know they was out there doing something they weren't supposed to be doing. We all done heard that. You better take that chicken out the freezer when you get home.
The whole key. You're right, Chris. The whole key is to give them something to keep them busy. Because see, it's like, and I want to get this. I want to give it. It's not this analogy, but they said statistically, homes that have dogs don't get robbed. Why? Because thieves don't like to deal with all the trauma that comes with an animal. All the barking, all the barking causes noises, draws attention, all of that, right?
Right.
So when Chris drew that analogy, it's the same thing. Give your kids something that creates it to be almost difficult to go out and sneak out the house and do this, that, and the other. If you come home and say, make sure you take out the food, I gotta cook it. Make sure you walk that dog, feed that dog, make sure your homework's done. By the time they do just about all that, they're not gonna have time to go out here. Because school get out at 2:33 or 4 o'clock. By the time you do all that, it's like 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
you're already on your way home. And they know
Some-
they got to be home while you get there.
And hey,
Right.
one of the best things that I made now is that doggone Ring camera. You can't
Oh,
lie.
yeah. Man, you can't.
You
Exactly.
can't lie.
Oh
You can't
yeah,
lie for nothing.
You
you
can't
can see
lie.
that right on your phone.
Right.
You doggone right. I seen that one. I don't know if y'all seen that one video that girl trying to sneak that boy in the house, and he kept popping in front of the camera. She was telling him to move back.
Yes, I did see
And
that.
I
I
didn't
did
see
see
that
that.
one.
Ah,
then the
that was
daddy
so
came on
nice.
there like, "Who is that?"
Who is that?
She's
Who
like,
is that?
"Nobody.
He was
It's
on the
nobody." She's like, "I
intercom,
just seen him.
babe. He
He
was on the
around the corner.
intercom.
Who is that?"
So
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, it will save your children. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we want to thank everybody tuning in tonight, y'all. You guys always been a blessing. Thanks for all the
Sir.
support. We just doing this thing best way we know how. Definitely keep God first, and then
Always.
2 through a million or a billion, whatever number it is, God's gonna do the rest for you. Love your children. Trust your children. They may not know everything that you do know, but they know enough to know what they need, like, and want. And if you just listen to some of this stuff, it's not about swallow your pride. Your kids will be successful. Christy and I, the times we didn't think our kids were going to do things. We didn't think they was listening. But they watch you. I don't care what you say, they watch you. But more importantly, they watch how you handle things. They watch how
Right.
you deal with things. They may not always tell you, but they'll bring it up down the road. They'll say, "Well, I saw when you did this, and how you gonna tell me to do this, and you did that." They're always watching. They may not always say it, but they're watching, and they're going to do that to their children. So you're creating legacies down the road when it's all said and done, guys. So we
Yeah.
love you guys.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
Y'all.
Hey, we need y'all's help. If you like the show, if you love the content that we come with, if you love the things we talk about, please tell your friend and have them tell a friend.
Right.
Yes.
Come by,
Share the
sit
video.
down with us, share the
live.
videos.
Share the live.
If you're on
yeah.
YouTube, make sure
Engage.
you're liking it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Make sure you like the page. Make sure you like all the content. We doing this. We love talking with each other. We love talking with y'all. And we just want to be
Absolutely.
able to share this thing with a lot of different people, because somebody
Absolutely.
can be blessed by it and somebody can be touched by
Yeah,
everything that we're coming with.
Share the video with
So-
somebody, y'all. That's
So
why we do it.
please, you know what I mean? Help us out with that. But at the same time, if you don't, God bless you. But we just ain't gonna like you too much.
You're so silly. You're right. You're so silly. But man, we love you guys. Again, thank y'all so much, man. Chris is absolutely right. Don't forget to spread the word. And if the video helps somebody, by all means, you don't know how people don't always tell their business. They don't always tell you everything.
Right.
Right.
So, if you just share, if you have an idea and maybe you're too close to a situation, let's send the video, And we're gonna make a little shorter clips, y'all. This is the live version, so it's long, but
Right.
we're gonna be editing some stuff too in here. But other than that, y'all have a great 4th of July weekend. Be
Please
safe.
stay safe. Stay
All right,
safe.
we're not gonna be here Tuesday, but we'll be here next Thursday.
Mhm.
God bless y'all. We love y'all, and we'll talk
And it
to y'all
might
later,
not
man.
just be not just be fireworks. It might be gunshots. Don't do like me. Don't run out.
Know the difference.
Don't run out there.
Know the difference.
I had a dumb moment. I ain't gonna lie, but
Either way, I still
either
do.
way, stay inside.
Just
Stay
remember,
inside.
stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll.
Stop
You
trying
don't,
to get
you
nobody
don't
on fire.
roll, babe. You
Stop,
don't
drop, and
roll.
roll.
Just stop
And
and drop.
I'll
If
tell
you're
you
gonna
what.
if you're gonna light fireworks, make sure you throw it.
Let me
Don't
tell you
hold on.
something.
Don't hold it.
Y'all better
Don't
complain.
don't
y'all
do
listen to
some
don't y'all listen to
ridiculousness.
Christy. Let me tell you something. Don't listen to y'all better stop, drop, and roll your behind
If you're
into
gonna
safety.
hold
That's what
it
you
in
better
your
do.
hand on
You better act
purpose,
like you're in the military. You better be they trenches. They roll, they tuck and roll.
rolling
Stay
high,
low.
rolling high.
Rolling high.
Don't be like Terry in that wheelchair and standing there while the fireworks being lit. Like, back up, Terry.
Ooh,
Back up, Terry.
that's so pretty.
Hold on, let me record that.
It's so
putting this
pretty.
on.
Oh man.
I'm putting this on ridiculousness. What was
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
What was that show where you get some
Don't mess
money
around
for the shows?
Look, don't mess
For
around
them
and go
stupid
viral.
behind things.
Nah, don't
Yes.
go viral, man.
They gonna
Don't
go
go
viral
viral.
back. Look, you can make money off of that.
We gonna see the videos come Tuesday.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Somebody will entertain us. So
Right.
all right, y'all. We love
God bless
y'all.
y'all.
Love
God bless
y'all.
y'all, and we out of here.